What's going on, everyone? So, based on reports coming out of the Portland Trailblazers, Anfernee Simons is available for trade. Also, the Portland Trailblazers just signed Devontae Graham earlier, which I think is very interesting and maybe signals something is on the horizon. Maybe they kind of have an idea of what's coming as far as a trade goes, because, again, that is just very odd for a team that, I mean, their guard position is one that they just have a lot of them, right? I mean, they have several guys that could slot in at the two, and so even if they trade Simons, it's like, their guard spot seems rather interesting, but nonetheless, right, Portland signed him, and we'll see what develops as far as the Simons trade goes, because this is a guy that is still very young, 25 years old, can slot and play the point, play the two. He's best as a shooting guard. But this is a guy that last year, for example, you look at his numbers, just shy of 23 points a game, 5.5 assists, 4 rebounds, half a steal, half a block, free throw line, 90% free throw shooter, EFG of 52.3, 47% from 2-point range, and then 38.5% from 3-point range on 8.8 attempts. So this is a guy that can light it up, knock it down, and would be a welcome addition to many teams, including the Lakers, right? Now, this, of course, sparks the interest of, Lakers are in talks with Portland, try to pull off some type of trade. Obviously, Jerami Grant is the name that is most linked to the Lakers. But with Simons, it kind of begs the question of, like, do the Lakers try to get both? Do they potentially pivot and maybe go look to add Simons instead of Jerami Grant to bring in that young guard that can be a piece for now and the future? He's making $26 million this year. He'll be making $27, almost $28 million next year, and then he becomes an unrestricted free agent in 2026, 2027. So he is a bit pricey, right? Given a guy that I don't think he's overpaid, right? But you also want to see the level of consistency, right? You want to make sure that this is a guy that year in and year out can provide that. I mean, the last 3 years, he was 17.3 a game, then 21.1, and then 22.6. So, if he can maintain that and keep that up, especially as he gets into the mid to late 20s, then yeah, I mean, he's going to get paid pretty hefty coming up. And that could also be one of the reasons why Portland is maybe interested in trading Simons, is that they're like, hey, in 2 years, we're going to have to pay him. We're going to have to pay him big. And, if they don't really look at him as a piece for the future, kind of makes sense, kind of get off him now, get the money that you can now, free up for the young guys. They're also trying to tank. But Simons also makes sense because if the Lakers trade D'Angelo Russell, now Portland, based on reports, do not want D'Angelo Russell. That, supposedly, the package is Gabe Vincent, Rui Hachimura, and Cam Reddish. Now, you might think, well, why would they want Gabe Vincent? Well, the reason they might be interested in Gabe Vincent over D'Angelo Russell is D'Angelo Russell's a guy that he's going to want to start. He's going to demand X amount of minutes, right? Where Gabe Vincent, he's a guy that he's being paid to come off the bench. He's expected to come off the bench, even for the Lakers. So you can kind of get away. And his money is very movable, right? Where, I mean, D'Lo, yes, I mean, once you get closer to the trade deadline, D'Lo's money becomes easier to move because teams are like, hey, we could, take an expiring contract, but you'd have to get through the season with him. And, he's going to take shots and opportunities away from the young guys, where Gabe Vincent, you're just kind of bringing him in, playing him alongside various guys and kind of in spots. Plus, Gabe Vincent is a guy that, is that 3-and-D style guard. So he understands his role. He's going to play that role, and he's just easier to slot in along your other guards. So I see why maybe Portland would want that as opposed to D'Lo. If the Lakers were to trade for Simons, chances are it'd probably have to be a third team, because if you wanted Jerami Grant and Simons, and I've even seen people throw out the idea of like, oh, also get Robert Williams. The problem with all three of those guys is now you're talking you need to send out like $70 million in salary. I mean, D'Lo and Rui get you halfway there. They get you to like 35 million. But then even if you added, say, Jared Vanderbilt, right? That puts you at 45 million. Say you add Gabe Vincent, that puts you at 56 million, right? And then you'd have to add in, like you're basically trading your entire roster for those three guys. Now, some people might think that that's worth it, right? Basically trade everybody, and you could run that as your five, right? I mean, you could go Simons, have like LeBron at the point if you needed to, Simons at 2, Grant at the 3, you go 80 at the 4, and Williams at the 5 if you really wanted to. But it's a lot, and you'd still have to round out a roster. How do you do that? That I think is unlikely. However, Simons plus Grant is a possibility, because at that point, then you only need to clear out about $55 million in salary, which, again, you'd have to include D'Angelo Russell in that deal, which you can get there. You can just throw basically D'Lo. The trade for Grant and then to get to Simons, Portland would have to work with you a little bit, but you could technically go like D'Lo, Jalen Hood-Schifino, and a couple, like a vet minimum guy, and you basically get there with the money cleared on the other. But again, you got to be able to clear off enough salary in order to pull off other players, not trades, but players to come in to kind of fill out a roster, because you have to have X amount of players going into the season. So that's something you got to keep in mind as well. But it does kind of beg the question of do you pivot to getting a young guard that can be a piece for now and the future, get you a 22-point-a-game guy, get you a guy that can put the ball in the hoop, shoot from 3, give you a little bit of everything. I mean, you could slot him alongside Austin Reeves if you wanted to. Problem is that him and Austin Reeves, I would definitely have concerns defensively, right? Because Simons is not known as this all-defensive type of guy. I mean, even last year, he had a worse defensive rating than both D'Lo and Reeves. And the last 3 years, he's been 121 or worse defensive rating, which is awful for those that don't know. But this is a guy, if you were to trade D'Lo, right? Like, let's say you went and traded for Cam Johnson, right? I wouldn't hate saying, forget Grant, go get Simons, right? Can you work something out to land Simons? And now you have that guard that can basically take the role of D'Angelo Russell. Again, you're not great defensively, but Simons is a guy that could give you that 3-point shooting, go get you a bucket, add some athleticism, add some scoring ability. Right, there is an argument there that it would be an upgrade, but also just a more long-term piece. Right, this is a guy that you could have even beyond LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Right, so I don't hate the idea. As with all things, it boils down to cost. Right, what is the cost to acquire Simons? Lakers, again, it's always a Jerami Grant or a Cam Johnson, and you got to get something else besides that. So if you have to give up everything to go get Simons, then again, it's not really worth it, as much as I would love to have Simons. But if you can work something out to where you can get Jerami Grant and Simons for, basically salary matching plus, let's say, both first and 2 pick swaps or something, or a pick swap, then yeah, I would do that at that point, because now you're getting basically 2 20-point-a-game scorers. Both can shoot the 3 ball, so you're getting upgrades in the guard position as well as the small forward position. But you're also getting the youth in Simons, who can be a piece for now and the future. You start piecing it all together. It's like, okay, now I can kind of see that, right? With those two added to LeBron James and Anthony Davis and Austin Reeves. Again, I have a little concerns defensively, but with Anthony Davis alongside, new coach, right? Maybe he can at least be serviceable defensively. We'll see. Time will tell. But, it definitely has its pros and cons. If you can land both, I think you land both. You can make an argument, go after Simons and leave Grant, and then try to go get somebody else, right? Which, again, if you can get somebody else, I don't mind it. If you could go get, like I said, Cam Johnson and go get Simon, then fine. I'd rather than do that, right? Or, you know, Wendell Carter Jr. and Simons. Like, fine, do that. Because I do think Simons, he has shown enough. Again, he's not really a playmaker, right? He's not like D'Lo in that regard, but he is a guy that could initiate the offense, could make some plays for others, you know, could pass the ball, do a little bit of everything, right? So I think you could get away with that personally. Again, he's kind of more of a two guard. You know, he's well, not more. I mean, he is a two guard, but he's got all the tools to be a quality defensive piece, right? He's 6'3", which is a little considered 6'3", 6'4", but he's got a 6'9" wingspan, so he's got good length in that regard. It's just, would a guy like JJ Redick as your coach, would he be able to kind of get him to focus in on the defensive side? But if you can, I mean, if you could get him, go get him. Right? Again, everything has to be at the right price. If you're just getting him just to get him, no, and you're selling the farm, then no. But if you can get him at a reasonable price that makes sense and, you know, helps upgrade the roster, I think you do it with or without Jerami Grant. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you think, yes, go get Simons? Do you think, no, stay away from Simons? Just get Grant? Do you want to get both? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot, so we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.